So you have to wonder, is it possible to predict the next Grails for Star Wars Hot Toys? Even for the action figures that are up for pre-order right now? We're going to dive into that within this Market Outlook edition of the Market Value Chart Show. And also, what's going on in the secondary market over the last couple of weeks? Are figures trending up and down and just kind of shifting all over the place? Time to have some coffee, my friends. Let's dive into it right now. All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So before we go ahead and dive into this episode, I will tell you that I will finally be live once again on Labor Day weekend, September 4th, Saturday at 7 p.m. with Aries is live and raw. So yes, it has been very, very difficult over the last week. And last week was absolutely bonkers for the Dark Jedi, Aries Terricton, who serves up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk. I wasn't able to serve up anything. But after this week coming up over here, because I'll be bonkers again this week and won't be able to go live this weekend. But once that all settles down, which it's coming to, thank goodness, I'll be able to be back live with the panel and be back with Live and Raw. And I can tell you that the first live show back will be Saturday, September 4th at 7 p.m. during Labor Day weekend. And I will be serving up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk with a full panel, which will be all of you. And is it possible that I'll be brewing a ton of coffee? And I say yes, for sure. We'll have the coffee brewing, baby. We will have Phoenix Blue Spotchka. We'll have water. We'll have decaf. We'll have the whole 9 yards. And you have to wonder, what type of predictions, what type of actually clairvoyance am I going to get, are we going to get from the Hot Toys wizard that is going to tell the tale of the next shocking, surprising drops from Hot Toys for Star Wars? What you gonna do when Aries goes live and raw on September 4th on you? What you gonna do? Put that on your calendars. I can't wait to have some fun with you all then for sure. And unfortunately, I won't be live this Friday with Dante. I will be out of town again, but make sure that you tune in at 9 o'clock this coming Friday for Dante's The Man of Hot Collectibles live show. And then I'll be back with the panel in September again for sure. And that schedule will be coming out very, very soon. Anyway, let's go ahead now and dive into this Market Outlook edition of the Market Value Chart Show. And as we do with every Market Outlook edition, let us go ahead and go to 6scalecantina.com. And if you don't have 6scalecantina.com bookmarked yet, you may want to consider doing so if you're interested in Star Wars Hot Toys. Not only does it give you the latest information on the latest announcements or releases or teases for Star Wars Hot Toys or the latest news on waitlist items that are up for pre-order or in stock within the market, so on and so forth. But this particular website is really comprehensive in giving you all the information on Star Wars Hot Toys within the secondary market. What are the current prices? You can go to the market value chart and see what the current prices are within the secondary market. and also what the current trends are. And also on the homepage, you have the biggest mover section, which is a section which tells you what figures for Star Wars Hot Toys are moving up or down the most within a particular week or span. So let's go ahead and take a look right here. And as you can see, what's number one? And very, very interesting with Darth Maul DX16. And I've been talking about this particular figure for quite some time. That eventually this particular figure was going to be a $400, a mid $400 tier range figure. For sure. And you have to wonder, is it possible that this Darth Maul DX16 that doesn't even come, with the bike, could actually hit the $500 tier range? We'll have to keep an eye on it, but let's go ahead and take a look at some data and some of the stuff that's been happening with the DX16 for Darth Maul. And as I go ahead and get that up onto the screen over here, you can see that just back from August 14th, with 32 bits, wow, $460, not including the $25 in shipping, and not including taxes, which puts this piece selling well over $500. And this is a seller with almost 1,000 feedback and all 100% positive. And you can take a look right now at this selling for $460, even at current listings. And here's another very reputable seller, Hawk Wars Toys, over 1,100 feedback, 100% positive, and has this listed at $455, make an order. And that's what the market value chart is showing this actually as a trend right now for selling around, more often than not, around the $450 tier range. Now it still sells around $400 or maybe high $300 tier range. But let's actually go ahead and go to the market value chart and see exactly where it's sitting right now. It's certainly on the trend up. And remember, whenever you go to the market value chart, just click on that current value column, arrow a couple of times, and you get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures so that it's easier to navigate. And when you go down and look at Darth Maul in the $400 tier range, and I'll highlight it right here on the screen, you could see trending up with the arrow up, $423 and trending up. So the big news here is that this DX16 has breached the $400 tier range and breached it in a big, big way, going all the way up to $423. Now, is this a surprise to me? No. I mean, this figure, when you look at Count Dooku within the secondary market, and you look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we're going to talk about within this episode for sure, you look at the Anakin, you look at some of these prequels figures, and Darth Maul is certainly an iconic legacy character, and especially with his appearance in the Phantom Menace. So for me, this for many collectors, not all, but for a lot of collectors, is a figure that is a must-have within a collection for just of what happened within the Phantom Menace and Darth Maul back at that time. So no surprise here. Is this figure going to continue to rise? I think at the end of the day, you're going to see the deluxe version, the DX17, if you will, with the bike, probably head more towards the $600 tier range. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at where that DX16 is. And here's Darth Maul with the speeder, and since it's up and I know where it is, I'll highlight it. $500 and steady. And you have to wonder, Is this particular figure going to go ahead and hit the $600 tier range? And I say yes. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this set, both DX16 and DX17 for sure. Let's go ahead and actually go back to the homepage and to the biggest mover section and take a look at what else is going on. So look at Obi-Wan over here. So this is very interesting to me because pretty much everything Obi-Wan is trending up within the secondary market, whether it's the A New Hope version or whether it's Obi-Wan Deluxe or the regular from Revenge of the Sith. And I do think that some of that has to do with the forthcoming Obi-Wan series, which I'm going to definitely spill a lot of coffee when it comes to getting ready for that Obi-Wan series with Ewan McGregor on there and Hayden Christensen and who knows what other surprises that Disney is going to throw on us, with that particular series. I'm really, really looking forward to that Obi-Wan series for sure, and to see what they're going to do. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these Obi-Wans and look at some recent data. So, with Obi-Wan, let's actually go to the A New Hope one, and you can see right here some recent auctions. Here's back from the beginning of August, $611, not including the shipping, 22 bids. Very, very good feedback, all 100%, not including taxes. I mean, close to $700 all in for this particular piece. And wow, this is so sought after. But the very interesting thing is, it's not just Obi-Wan from A New Hope. It's also this legacy character, an Obi-Wan from the prequels. And particularly the one version that's out for Hot Toys, the Revenge of the Sith version. So let's go ahead and pull up the deluxe. Some data from there. And you can see back here, and wow, this is all from August. All from August. $649. And 2 already sold in August. And it's on the last one over here for Obi-Wan Deluxe. And I continually see, more often than not, this Obi-Wan Deluxe version going upwards in the $600 tier range all day long, and very high $500 tier range for this deluxe version. But what about the regular version, the non-deluxe? And let's go ahead and go to that right now and get some recent data on the non-deluxe version. And you can see right here, back from August 20th, and another very, very good seller, close to 500 total feedback, all 100% positive. $490, $10 away from $500 for the non-deluxe Obi-Wan, and not including shipping, and not including taxes. So you have to wonder, is it possible that these Obi-Wan Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan A New Hope versions of Hot Toys are Grail figures even right now? And I say, yes, they most certainly are. Just go ahead and look at the trends within the secondary market. And it's such a beloved character, and it's such a good character. And I'm still blown away with the casting George Lucas did with Ewan McGregor for the prequels. I mean, I just love his portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I really can't wait to see what happens within this Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. And I think that these particular figures are going to continue to be action figures that are going to fetch very, very high prices and could possibly continue to trend up within the secondary market for sure. Now, what if they go ahead and reissue these particular figures? And That's a very good question. And one of the figures that I want to go ahead and bring up to kind of help answer that particular question when we go back to the market 6scalecantina.com. Well, let's actually go to the market value chart. And remember, whenever you go to the market value chart at 6scalecantina.com, you don't always just have to sort it out best-selling wise by clicking that arrow within the current value column. You can also just type in Obi-Wan or Obi or just OBI, and you get all the Obi-Wans to come up. And I can go ahead here, and the figure that I want to speak to is Yoda, and I can just type in Yoda, and let's see what comes up. And then the two Yodas on the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys come up. And you can see right here that Yoda Attack of the Clones, as I highlight it, well, it's the first one that is listed here, is steady within the secondary market at $355. And this is a reissue, and it's $355, and actually higher than when it was before it was reissued. So you have to wonder, is it possible if Hot Toys reissues, straight reissues, that Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith, just like they did with Yoda from Attack of the Clones, that it would trend the same way eventually as this Yoda from Attack of the Clones? And I say yes. So, remember, don't automatically assume that just because a figure is reissued, that it's never going to go back to where it was within the secondary market. Sometimes it can, sometimes it cannot. But this figure, just like that Attack of the Clones Yoda, is very beloved. This Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan is certainly a figure that if they do just straight reissue it, would go probably right back to where it is right now at the end of the day. And we're not even sure if they would do a straight reissue of that, or if they would give us a reiteration. There's so many ways that Star Wars and Hot Toys can approach putting out another Obi-Wan figure. With the new series, there's going to be that present time. There's going to be flashbacks. There may even be some flash forwards. And we're not even talking about any of that. We're not even talking about anything from the Attack of the Clones version of Obi-Wan, or a Phantom Menace version of Obi-Wan, which would sure go nice with Qui-Gon and that aforementioned DX16 and DX17 Darth Maul that I was talking about. So, they don't necessarily have to put out the same Obi-Wan figure, Hot Toys, because it's just fetching high prices. They could, in a way, give us different Obi-Wan figures, since they know that Obi-Wan sells rather good, rather well. Remember, case in point, they didn't reissue Leia from A New Hope. They gave you Leia, the Hoth version. And they didn't reissue that Leia Hoth version. They gave you Leia Bespin. And they didn't reissue that Leia Bespin. They gave you Leia Endor. And is it possible that they're going to go ahead and give you a Leia, bounty hunter disguise? Or a Leia different, figure? And I say, yes. As long as we keep buying them. Let's go ahead and go back to 6scalecantina.com. Let's go to the biggest movers section on the homepage again. Let's take a look at some other things that are going on. So we talked about this in the last live episode and a couple episodes. The Kylo Ren, The Last Jedi is trending down. And trending down hard. While you got that fantastic Rise of Skywalker version up for sale right now. And we're going to talk about how's Rey doing in just a little bit. Those other Rey versions in the secondary market. But let's actually go to the heavy infantry Mandalorian. That's the one I want to go ahead and speak to here. And let's look at some interesting things. So the heavy infantry Mandalorian, actually, if we go to the market value chart, let's actually see where it's sitting. And I'm not even going to sort it out best-selling wise. I'm just going to type in the word heavy and probably get the Praetorian Guards or and then here we go, but we do get the heavy infantry Mandalorian TMS 010, $379 and trending down. But here's a real interesting thing about this. It's not trending down, plummeting. It's trending down from the very, very high $440 to $450 range where it was creeping up at. And now it's kind of, even though it's trending down still, it's kind of leveling off right around here. So don't be fooled by that like it's going to dip below 350. It absolutely is not. It's actually showing signs now of leveling off and actually rising. So I'm expecting to see either a balance dash there where it's going to be steady, or it's certainly a rising, a trending up arrow very, very shortly. So let me give you some recent trends on the heavy infantry Mandalorian. Again, it was trending down because it was so high, and it came down to earth a little bit. But bringing this up onto the screen, you can see back here from August 14th, 34 bits, $367, not including the $18 in shipping, not including taxes. And very, very good seller. Again, 826 feedback, all about 100% positive. And this is kind of where I'm seeing this right now, about $360 to $390 at approaching, going to start approaching, over 400 more consistently very, very soon. Let's bring up something else. Heavy infantry Mandalorian. And, well, you can see right here, just back from the end of July. So, Hawk Wars Toys, very reputable seller. Again, $375 this sold for, and that's about where it's at. So while it was trending down around 350 and going down, starting to see that it's going to start elevating back up. And I'm not really surprised by this at all. I did mention that in prior videos that I thought that at the end of the day, the heavy infantry Mandalorian would be a mid to high $400 tier range figure. As a matter of fact, a $500 tier range figure, probably at the end of the day, or very close to it for sure. But let's actually go ahead and actually see exactly where this is sitting at within the market value chart. Again, just real quickly, I know we just talked about exactly where it was, but typing this in again. And, just as I said before, 379 and trending down, it's probably going to stay around, right here. And then eventually you're going to see it go back up to the near $400 tier range. Exactly where this figure is going to land when it's all said and done in the future, we'll have to keep an eye on it. But all day long, it's a $400 tier range figure for sure, and I think a mid $400 tier range figure at the end of the day. Now, I've talked about reissues with this figure many times in many past videos, and I don't think they're going to straight reissue this figure ever. I do think they're going to give you another version of the heavy infantry Mandalorian when that character shows up again in season 3 of The Mandalorian. And it could have some extra kinks in its armor, some extra wear and tear. Who knows? Depending on how the story arc goes, we could even get a head sculpt, depending on which way that story arc is going to go. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, for sure. And let's go ahead and go back to the home page. And I know the other figure that we saw there, we talked about already, the Shore Trooper. Shore Trooper trending down, but when it's near $500 to be, that's still a very, very steep price. And I do believe at the end of the day, once those other Shore Troopers get released, that are on pre-order right now, the Mandalorian version, the Grunt, and also the other Rogue One version, that this figure will actually trend back up again, just like those Death Troopers. did from Rogue One when the Death Trooper from the Mandalorian finally made it within the secondary market. So something to keep an eye on for sure. Let's actually talk about Cody. We talked about Luke Endor Deluxe and the Luke Jedi Master the episode before. But let's go ahead and get an update on Cody. And Commander Cody continues to be creeping up within the secondary market. And it's all day long selling around the $400 range. And more often than not now, it is selling upwards in the 400s more than it's not, which is why it has a trend up with this particular figure. And even when you go ahead and, I'll pull up one that's ongoing over here. And you could see, even with 4 hours and 16 minutes left, with somebody with very good feedback, all 100% positive feedback, good seller, 47 watchers. And it's already at $346.99, not including the taxes and not including the shipping. And that's how much interest these Commander Codys are getting within the secondary market, for sure. And let's actually go to the market value chart and see where this is sitting at now. Last couple of weeks ago, it raised up, and let's just type in Cody and see where this is sitting at here. And right now, wow, $416 and trending up. And we're going to get into, within this episode, what the implications are for the Captain Rex, which really goes hand in hand with this Commander Cody, within the secondary market. We talked a little bit about it in the last live episode. And is it possible that this Commander Cody figure is already a Grail figure, and it really just came off waitlist, this year? And I say yes. And you're going to quickly see this figure skyrocket close to the $500 tier range. And is it possible it could actually breach the $500 tier range? We're going to have to keep an eye on it. But if you take a look at the Commander Cody and the Captain Rex and some of those other clones that Sideshow put out years ago, you could kind of go ahead and do the math. And Star Wars, quite frankly, is in a very, very different place than whence it was. Coffee spilling, baby, where it is right now. And you see Cody, which was recently just produced, with the numbers that whatever they produced it at, and it's selling like that. And you see the heavy infantry Mandalorian and how that's selling. You're going to try and wonder what Captain Rex is going to do? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's go back to 6-scale Cantina and see what else is going on the biggest mover section. And remember, as I'm pulling this up, if this is the first time you're ever watching the Market Value Chart Show, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. I so very much appreciate your support. And don't forget to hit that like button as well. OG Mandalorian. Let's talk about that, because I get a lot of questions on OG Mandalorian. I brought it up in the last episode, which was a live episode. OG Mandalorian was tanking really, really bad. I brought this up. This is one of the, recent auctions, and I'll bring it back up again. You can see back from August 13th, $218.50 with 15 bids. Wow. At all 100% positive feedback with this particular seller. Now, since then, I am starting to see this starting to show signs of leveling out and rising and not being available for $218. I do think if you're looking for an OG Mandalorian, and I did bring it up, and so did some other panel members in the last live episode, this is probably the time to go ahead and pick one up if you really, really want one, because this figure will be a $400 tier range figure at the end of the day for sure. And it doesn't matter at all about that OG Mandalorian version that comes with the blurg, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit on this episode. But, you know, you're seeing since then with the OG Mandalorian some sales that are, you know, more high for this, and, you know, pretty much where I think, you know, it should be at this point. You know, you can see back here from August 21st, 3 bids, $260, all 100% positive feedback, not including the $24.95 in shipping, not including taxes. I'm going ahead and pulling up, you know, another OG Mandalorian. And you can see right here that this is a listing. And this particular figure right now with another very, very good seller, all 100% positive feedback, selling at about $300. And 2 sold already. And you're on the last one over here. And this is about where this is selling right now, between $250 and $300 mostly. Sure. When you have an average, sure, sometimes it'll sell, you know, $375. Yeah, absolutely. And just like I showed you, sometimes it'll sell $220, as I just pointed it out. But I think you're seeing the less of the $220s now and more around $250 to $300. And is it possible that this figure will start once again rising up above the pretty much at the $350 tier range and start approaching the $400 tier range? And I say yes. Through time. We're going to see what happens in 2022. And as that, you know, as that continues to move forward, and as that blurg and OG Mandalorian set come out, and we're going to talk about that, what happens there, you're going to see this figure rise up, and it will eventually be a $400 tier range figure. But right now, if you're looking for an OG Mandalorian and you have it budgeted to buy an OG Mandalorian, don't wait for it to go down below 200, because it will never happen. And right now I'm starting to see that it's going between 250 and 3. Pretty soon it's going to be between 300 and 350, and then eventually it'll be between 350 and 400, and eventually it'll be between 400 and 450. So keep you know, be mindful of that. Be mindful of that for sure. Especially with this OG Mandalorian. Let's go ahead and go to some other figures. And just pulling some of these other ones up, you know, how is Rey doing within the secondary market? And you can see right here, just back from August 14th, $339.95. So $340 for the Rey and BB-8 set. The Reys, whether it's this version, the Rey Resistance, or the Rey Jedi Training within the secondary market, are not at all being affected with the Rey from the Rise of Skywalker, unlike Kylo Ren, which is absolutely being affected, the Last Jedi version. And we'll forget about the Force Awakens version, because the Last Jedi version was really hurting that version. And it's the same pattern happened again, where you're having the Rise of Skywalker version of Kylo Ren hurting both of those versions. Whereas having the adverse effect on Rey, where all the Reys are pretty much doing well, unless you try and get the Rey from just the Force Awakens without BB-8. That one you can get at a very affordable secondary market price. So very, very interesting there, you know, with Rey. And we're going to talk about Rey and some of these future Grail figures. I keep mentioning the word Grail. And we're going to get to that in just a second. I'm just bringing up some other things here. So I actually, and, you know, just real quick, if you're looking for, I brought up these Return of the Jedi Boba Fett's, and, you know, I'm really $350 for a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, not including the $18 in shipping, and only 11 watchers. And if you're looking for a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, it's going for around this price. This listing has a make an offer. I can pull up some other Return of the Jedi Boba Fett's. You can see this one back from this is probably back, well, end of July. Wow, it was pretty recent. 23 bids, $270. Very, very good feedback on the seller. And then pulling up another one for Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. And this is another regular version, not the deluxe. Back from August 9th, $310 with 11 bids. And you would think it would have even more bids. So, just like right now, if you're, looking for an OG Mandalorian, if you're looking for a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, I am telling you, just like that OG Mandalorian, there is no way in the world that this figure is going to stay around this price, especially with the Book of Boba Fett looming. And what's going on there. This may be the time for you to start keeping an eye on Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett's deluxe and non-deluxe, for sure. But we're going to start segueing into the second segment of this particular market outlook version and trying to go ahead and predict grails and predict some waitlist alerts within the secondary market, for sure. And let me go ahead and show a couple of things here to kind of set this up. Let's first go to the Sith Jet Trooper. So you can look back here from August 14th on this Sith Jet Trooper. $172 with just 9 bids, 50 cents. $172.50. Didn't even hit the reserve. The price to buy it now was $218. $172. Way, way under the Sideshow stock price in stock. And it's not even selling in the secondary market. And here's a seller with over 100 feedback and 100% all positive. Keep that in mind. Store that in the back of your head. Let's go to something else. Here's a Scout Trooper with the bike. Back from August 14th, same thing. $405, but this one had 44 bids. High demand. But it wouldn't go over that. And reserve was not met. And well under the price that is currently available for, on the regular market. Store that in the back of your head. Let's go ahead and go to another figure I want to point out, though. And we're going to set this all up. You could look at Rey from Rise of Skywalker, which is in stock. And you can only put 3 in your cart, and that one's going to go very, very quick. But all from August at $259, actually. It's actually higher. Selling. And I've talked to some contacts. And one of my contacts here, that sells within the secondary market, these Reys. And they're just selling like hotcakes. They are absolutely selling like hotcakes. And not just on Sideshow. And when you go ahead and look at some overseas sellers and pulling this up just to get a gauge, and for $423, you already have 24 sold. But this is completely sold out in Hong Kong. This figure is not going the way of the Jet Trooper, and it's not even going the way of the Scout Trooper. And it's a way to be able to determine some of the breadcrumbs to be able to follow up. Is this figure going to be a grail at the end of the day? And I say absolutely. The way that you see the Rey, all the other Reys perform within the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys. And what you're seeing with this particular Rey right now from the Rise of Skywalker, which quite frankly could be, and I've heard somebody say this, and I kind of agree, this could absolutely be a candidate for Figure of the Year. That head sculpt is that figure is absolutely out of this world from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, baby. This figure is 1,000% going to be the most sought-after Rey within the secondary market. Because for a lot of collectors, including myself, this is the best Rey. Not for everyone, but for some, including myself, the best Rey in the market, and certainly the most underproduced Rey within the secondary market. An array now where you're limited to only put 3 in a cart within Sideshow. This figure has Grail written all over it. And so this is something that is very easy to predict for the future. That this is going to be a very, very, very highly sought after figure. For sure. And now let's go ahead and go to, this kind of segues me in to how to pinpoint other potential grails. And let's actually go to, actually, I'm going to pull this up on the screen. Let's see if I actually already have it up. And if I can go to it, I will. And see, I kind of run these pre-recorded ones like I'm live anyway, baby, right? Okay, so I have this up on the screen. And you're saying, okay, Aries, what is this interesting screen that you have up? So I actually have it logged into my account on this particular screen. And I have a coupon code. And not just a regular $25 coupon code that you just get from Sideshow. It's a coupon code from actually purchasing a Star Wars hot toy figure, and they give you the $25 code. And usually with that, you can go ahead and actually get Hot Toys figures that are up on pre-order, and some good ones that are in stock. And very, very interestingly, what comes up for me that's available for me, the only ones that are available for me. And when I first sorted this out, actually, very, very interestingly, I'll just bring this up. Ahsoka from the Clone Wars was available. It's no longer available. They took that off real quick, fast, in a hurry. But when you look at this, so that's going to tell you the tale on that one. Look at what's available, what they want you to buy with this coupon. You have the Jet Trooper, which I just showed you what's going on in the secondary market for Jet Troopers. Do you think Sideshow or some of these other companies are just selling these like hotcakes? You answer that question. I also just brought up the Scout Trooper with the speeder bike on the secondary market. You just saw what that was going for. This one's going here for $455. Available with the coupon. Yeah, you got the full-size Yoda. I don't want to get into full-scale or quarter-scale figures. We'll talk about those in the future, but certainly not surprised that's there. You got the only figure recently that's up on this list. You got Boba Fett in the Throne, which was #1 for so many weeks, like this Boba Fett Deluxe version, and this Boba Fett just the repaint armor. And sometimes they throw you a bone to be able to take a new figure that's selling really, really well, to be able to get a coupon code. That's the only one that's in there, and I'll tell you why that's in there in a minute. You also got the Boba Fett Deluxe version. And the very interesting thing about this Boba Fett Deluxe version is when I put this in my cart to get this Deluxe version, I can use a coupon. If I put in just Boba Fett with the worn out armor, the non-repaint armor, I can't use the coupon. This is going to back up my point in a second. Quill and the Blurg, notice not Quill, but Quill and the Blurg, that OG Mando and the Blurg, and of course Anakin with that staff, which is a very steep price, $385. All the figures that they're just not selling are on this list because they want to sell more of them. And they're having a fear that they're just not going to be able to get what they were hoping they were going to get from them. And what you don't see on here is you don't see Rey from the Rise of Skywalker on this list. But you could only put 3 in a cart into right now. They're not having any trouble selling those. You don't see Kylo from the Rise of Skywalker on this list. You don't see Captain Rex on this list. You don't see Ahsoka on this list. And when you go ahead and take a look at, for instance, this particular figure here, and you want to predict Ares, is this going to be a Grail? Is it possible that Captain Rex Ares would be a Grail? And I say, yes. It absolutely is going to be a Grail, my friends. Just look at Rex, at how that was going in the secondary market for Sideshow. And just look at Cody, and how that was going in the secondary market for Sideshow. Look at a myriad of the clones put out by Sideshow, and how they're going within the secondary market. And what's the state of Star Wars right now compared to the sequel era? That black cloud is being wished away by blue skies. And you got a lot more collectors coming into Star Wars Hot Toys. And you got a lot more fans coming into Star Wars. And Hot Toys is the premier and ultimate action figure within the market today. And you can bet your bottom dollar, and all your dollars, that this particular Captain Rex will 1,000% be a Grail figure. And where you see Cody right now within the secondary market, according to the market value chart, right now trending up and averaging at $416 and rising. It will not be long before Rex is right there and surpassing it. And when you talk about a figure like this as well, Ahsoka Tano. And you can just take a look, really. This figure is going to go so fast. And they're going to make a certain amount of it, so that they're not having these hanging around when they go ahead and release the Rosario Dawson version for the Mandalorian. Make no mistake, they're not going to make as many of these as they previously were. Because also, when you have a bunch of these Ahsokas sitting in stock, whether subconsciously or not, from a marketing standpoint, it kind of tells the buyer and the purchasers, the consumer, that Ahsoka's not moving. And even though it's not related to the Mandalorian version at all, it can 1,000% affect the sales of the Mandalorian version, because it's given the impression, like the Jet Trooper, that nobody wants it, or it's not moving. They are not making as many of these as they originally were. And when you go ahead and sort this out, best-selling wise, everything Star Wars, including Sideshow, this is going to show the Grievous, but it's also going to show, very interestingly, other figures sorting out best-selling wise, such as, look at this Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars. And look at this Obi-Wan Kenobi. And yes, I told you Combat Evolved that I would bring these up in a future episode. And here I am, bringing it up. Look at how sought after those two figures are doing when you sorted out everything. Those two figures right now are selling more than Boba Fett with the repaint armor by itself. And it's selling right now more than Rex. Now, granted, they've recently come on, and Rex has been on here for a bit. So not the most perfect analogy, but it's telling. Telling nonetheless. And that Clone Wars Ahsoka. Wow. I mean, it's selling so high. Look how high Rey and Kylo are. Rey. Wow. Again, that Kylo Ren's going to be the most sought after Kylo within the secondary market. You thought the last Jedi version was going for $450 upwards dollars? Wait till you see this one at the end of the day. And forget about this Rey. We already talked about it. Ahsoka's going to be a future Grail. Rex is going to be a future Grail. This armor is going to be a future Grail. This 2-pack Boba Fett is certainly going to be a future Grail. What about the other Boba Fetts that aren't in the 2-pack areas? They're going to be like the other Boba Fetts. You want to call them a Grail? Call them Grails. What about this Boba Fett in the armor? Grail. Stays up here in the top 3 from forever, selling more than everything else. Okay, maybe they'll make 40,000 of them. Same thing with these Lukes. These Lukes are going to go down to where this Clone Wars Ahsoka is and down here, it's just not going to have the holding power of these best car versions that stayed in the top 3 forever, and it seemed like eternity, and it was the whole span until these chrome-plated ones came out. So just some food for thought, and certainly my perspective, for sure. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed the content. And please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I so very much appreciate your support. Remember, it's been a crazy past week for me, so I wasn't able to be live, and it's going to be a crazy week this week, and I won't be live this week or this weekend either. The next time I'll be live, as I said at the onset of the program, will be Saturday, September 4th at 7 p.m. It will be Aries is live and raw, and I'll be brewing a lot of coffee, regular, decaf. I'll have the spotchka. I'll have water. I'll have this. I'll have that. This one's warmer at this point than here. So book that on your calendars for sure. And then we'll be getting back to the live paddle episodes as September comes around, and more information forthcoming on that for sure. Please go ahead and remember, our Facebook group is absolutely exploding, and we talk about everything that we talk about here on these videos, and so much about Star Wars Hot Toys. I got the link to that cool hangout place within the video description below, including Instagram and including Discord. And if you liked what you heard here today, and you would like some expanded analysis or some heightened thoughts about the secondary market and what I put into calculating and foretelling some of these things that are going to happen for Star Wars Hot Toys within the secondary market, you may want to consider becoming a Cantina Insider. Just go ahead and go to that join button in the channel, click it, and you'll see everything that it comes with. If it's something that you would be interested in, you may want to consider doing it. That's enough of that. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Market Value Chart Show. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. Stay thirsty, my friends.